Hey, what's up, guys? This is Steele here. Welcome to a stream here, and we got Duppy in the house right here. And so today we're going to be talking about the event, the Endless Epilogue, and we're going to talk about this, basically this Light Slayer event. We're going to talk about the cards, we're going to talk about the event, and also we're going to, hopefully talk about different ideas. And so I'm doing well. Thank you very much, Duppy. Hope everybody's having a good event so far. And right now, I am actually just kind of still building out the teams. And I would say that I'm actually having a hard time finding the one card that I really, really wanted. The card that I was actually really hoping to get was the Plagued Seraph, and I wasn't able to get it. But I do have some other cards that I am going to be using to sort of help build some decks, and we're going to talk about them here. And so Zuzu Mac Duck, hello, welcome to the stream here. And yes, I will help you, Duppy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually showcase a couple of decks I built, and we're going to talk about how these work. And then we're going to then also, jump into some of the, people who need help here. And so the very first one I wanted to showcase actually is a deck that uses, is it this one? A deck that uses a Gemfall. And so there are a couple of variations of this particular deck that we can use, and so I'm going to showcase all of these cards so that you could try them out as well. And we got new people joining in now as well. We got Mr. Hawklands and Noah Leah, and also Scum Bucket. Welcome to the stream here. So let's take a look here. So one of the things that I find challenging here is if you have the previous Light Slayer deck that uses the Hellboy deck, one of the things is it's a 3-turn deck and it's a little bit slow, right? So you have to activate the cards and then you wait for the attack to happen and then you create the gems. And typically by then it's a little bit slow and you lose out on the sort of the advantage of taking out the boss. And so what I generally try to do is to see if I can find a 2-turn damage deck. And so so these are some of the decks I'm going to try here. And so we've also got Don Lawrence and Youssef and Candy Spim and Vishal, welcome here. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is this Gemfall deck. All right, and so this is a relatively quick deck. If you take a look at the cards here, I've got basically the card I have here is Orion, but there's another card that I'm going to show you that you can also use. And also Luminous Gadget. So this is a Master Collection card version of the card, but there's also Oglyph that is available in the Dust Store. The reason why this card is good is because not only does it actually destroy gems, it also creates power gems as it as it destroys them. And so you're getting more power gems here. And then I did get Lily and Leon, so I'm going to be using that. And then filling out the rest of the board with Owen and Drago, although you don't really need to with this particular setup. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you how this works. I guess we can probably have to be a little quick here. So let's go ahead and jump into that right away. And we're going to use 3 keys for now. But this also works with 1 key. So I've sort of, set it up so that you would actually activate, you want to activate Orion first before you actually activate Gadget. The reason is because you want to get the Gemfall going, and then when you activate the Gemfall, the Gem Destroy, then you can see just how many gems are actually created as a result of that compared to when you don't have it. And so this is now a turn 2 deck, and so this can actually do pretty well. You can sort of see the damage there with 3 keys. We're looking at about 54 billion or so. All right, so it's a quick damage. It's not huge, so it's not something that you'll be able to take down with that particular setup. You can see it didn't really deal enough damage to take MVP of a Cobalt per se, but it is something that is at least a little bit quick, so you can at least get your 15%. And so if you don't have Gadget, you can also use Oglyph. Oglyph is also the same thing. And another card that you can also use, which is a light Dren, it's not Dren, it's Highborn. You can also use Mithril. So Mithril is another card that is also available in the, you'll probably see it a lot, Archangel Mithril. And so this card does appear quite a bit, and I can't remember whether it is a card that appears only in the 4-star though, but if you have this card, you can also use it. So we're gonna go ahead and try this a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and change this. Now that card though is a generation 1 type generator, and we're gonna go ahead and swap this out for an Oglyph. So we can take a look at Light Human instead and sort of see how this changes, right? So Oglyph is available in the dust store. You can pull it in the 20 dust shop. And let's just make sure our relics are correct here. So I don't have giants anymore, but instead we have Dren. So let's go ahead and take a highborn in here. And so we're gonna go ahead and change this out. And then everything should be the same. And so yeah, I see a couple of requests here. I'm just showing a couple of decks to begin with, and then we're gonna go ahead and talk about the rest of your cards as well. So just bear with me for a second here. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and try this out here just to see, can do an attack at the same time. And so this is going to deal a little bit less damage, obviously, because it, Oglyph creates Power Gem 2s rather than Power Gem 3s. And also, don't know how well Mithril will behave compared to Orion, but we can certainly give it a try here. So we're gonna go ahead and activate Mithril, who basically did the same thing here, but it kind of generated a little bit less gems overall, but it's okay. It still did what it needed to. We were able to fill up the board with this, and we can get some nice gem fall as well. And so with this setup, because of the additional connections, we actually dealt a little bit more damage there. So we actually were able to do 20 billion each, so that was about 60 billion there, and that's with Oglyph with just Power Gem 2s and rather than Power Gem 3s. So this deck is a viable one. You can definitely do that. And Queen Femme Fatale, hopefully you can stay. I hope so too. I understand that it is late and the time is a little bit different for everybody. So I'm glad for any of you who can join me here. Jim Paulson, how are you doing? What's up? And so yeah, so to get Oglyph, you just open a pack from the dust store. So here, and I gotta tell you, I've been trying my hardest for the last few days now. I've been pulling in the 20 dust shop for a Plagued Seraph, and I literally got every other ultra rare card that is available in the store except for Seraph. So I couldn't actually show you that particular setup, but I do have a few cards that are similar that I can use, so we will kind of talk about those. And also, I did get the Ultimate Form. I was able to get the Ultimate Form. I was able to get the Ultra Rare card in Tier 4, and I pulled a Master Collection card in Tier 5. And I actually got enough dust as a result of that. So I could actually go to two pink stars if I wanted to. But I kind of feel like I kind of want to just save those dust for the next light event in case it's a really good deck and I have something I can use. And so you can see here, I got all these other Ultra Rare cards, but I don't have Plague Seraph. But it's okay. We do have something else I can show you, and that is this particular type of setup, and that basically takes advantage of multiple copies of these cards. Now you don't have to use 3 copies of Owen. Another card that you can use is Hellboy. The only challenge you have with that is that card actually nukes. But what you can see here is the idea here is to use cards that generate a lot of regular light gems, and then use Plague Seraph if you have it, or Golden Warrior, which basically would actually, let me go ahead and make sure I have the relics. So I do. So you can actually use this to basically fill out the board first, and then for every 5 light gems that's on the board, you can I'm gonna have to change the team here. You can actually create an additional power gem, and so this is where you're going to get a lot of power gems created really quickly without any intensity requirements. Of course, there are other cards in the deck in the arsenal that we have available for us that you can actually use, but the thing is, it's going to be a little bit slower because it does have an intensity requirement. Now notice Owen and Drago have a higher gem charge requirement. It requires 12 gems instead of the regular 9. But just keep that in mind. So with basically Hellboy, did I use the wrong Hellboy? I did use the wrong Hellboy. So let's try this again. Sorry guys, I meant to show you with the other one. This is the one I was going to show you. So let's try this again. So with this particular setup, you basically want to use the cards that generate, regular gems, and then you can use, I'm using, in this case, a Golden Warrior, but Plague Seraph is going to be much, much better because she will actually create Power Gem 2s rather than Power Gem 1. And also it's a Slayer, so you get more damage output there. And so basically with this setup, you won't quite fill out the board there, but you can get, quite a good number of power gems as well. And this is not going to deal quite as much damage, but you can sort of see that with this setup here, it dealt about, 50 billion plus maybe about 8 from Hellboy. And so if you had multiple copies, like one more copy of Owen, for example, that would have been good. So that's another option there. And so sort of the problem we have, with this particular setup is that we don't actually have a card like Abarca or like, Hell, so that you can actually generate a ton of power gems right away. So we kind of have to make it work. And the only way I can really think of is to either use Gem Destroy plus Gem Fall, or to use sort of Gem Spawn plus, power gem creations. So that's why I kept wanting to get Plague Seraph so I can show it to you. I also have a team set up for anybody who is trying ultimate bosses. If you have the Apocalypse Hellboy, definitely you want to make sure you include that so you can get the double bonus damage. Aladdin is for the heal, and I actually use Morte Thronos for healing and Gem Destroy, and actually worked out okay. So you can give that a try as well. So let's see what's going on in the chat here. So a lot of requests here. So we're going to go up to the top here, and we're going to go down in order. And so this time I'm going to try to be a little bit faster so that I can catch up here as well. So we're going to go and take a look at Duppy Conqueror. And let's see. So I think Zuzu MacDuck, you're just looking for suggestions on relics. Okay. And so we can definitely take a look at that. So let's see. You've got the Master Collection card. So that's good. So the thing with these type of cards, like with the Master Collection card and the Ultimate Form, what you really want to do is you want to maximize the damage of that particular card as much as possible. And so any opportunity you get to fill the board or get more power gems, then that's what you should do. And so just looking at the team here, looking at your setup, I see that you're using Aileen. I feel like you might be able to get something, you might be able to, I mean, Aileen's a Generation 3 hero that's good, but if it's not Ascended, you're not really getting any additional power gems. So I feel like there might be better Generation 3 cards there. So you got Owen and Drago, you got Hellboy, and you got Maya and Diosa, which is good. So you got 2 copies there. So I guess the only question here is, will you get better output with a different card other than Aileen, right? And so let's take a look here. So now the other thing I'm thinking about is, are there other cards that generate power gems? And Kill Drone is one, but I think it requires, it doesn't require anything. So the only thing is you will only be creating 2 power gem 2s because you won't be getting any commander intensity. But you do have Ben, I think Ben Daimyo creates regular gems, right? This one creates 3 light power gem 1s. So in this case, Daimyo would have been better. And Swine Lord also creates power gem. This one actually creates 4. So Swine Lord Junfa would have been even better as well. So you've actually got a couple of options that are slightly better than Aileen in this case. And so I would put either Daimyo or Swine Lord Junfa. I would actually consider putting Swine Lord just because it's 4 compared to 3 power gems. And let's see, any other cards here? So Rainbow Overdrive would be, I don't have that card, but it's actually something I was thinking about pairing up with Amy. If you have Amy, that wouldn't be a bad option as well. Trying to activate Amy and activate Rainbow Overdrive to get the additional power gems there. So that's something to think about. And you do have the Plagued Seraph. And so this is the card I wished I could show, right? So another option that you could also try and do is, if you can actually, in this case, I think you might actually just want to, I think use Maya Diosa, Hellboy, and what you want to do is you want to activate Maya and Diosa and then activate the 3 support cards, and then try putting in Plague Seraph and putting in there. You're going to get more Power Gem 2s on the board that way, and I think that's actually going to give you better damage out of your other cards overall. So that would be the one card to put in there. Give that a try and see what you think. All right, and so let's go ahead and take a look at Zuzumak Duck. So we can take a look at your cards and give you recommendation on your relics. So Guard, Senga, Steele. And let's take a look at your main deck. So if you're asking about relics here, so even one. Okay. So you have the full deck as well. So obviously you'll want to put all of your Light Slayer relics. Let's see how many you have. So you've got. Oh, I see. Yeah. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to. What's the Lunar Launcher? Lunar Launcher. Okay, so yeah, so you want the Lunar Launcher, Excalibur, and also the Erudite Gauntlet. So those 3. I don't see that here, and I think, I would want to see that, because you're putting in a Blessed Blade in here, which will only power up a Blessed card, and I don't think you need it for Legacy Plague Seraph. So Seraph is a Generation 2 card. It does give you an increase in the drop rate. So if you're doing that for the drop rate, that's fine. But you have a 5-star Blessed Blade here. I'd rather see you putting in the third Light Slayer deck in relic in there, just so that you could actually get a little bit more damage. And instead you have the Skyforge Grief, which only works against Highborn. So this is actually not doing you any good right now. So I would take this particular relic out and putting in one that, if you wanted to putting another one, I'd rather you put in a 6-star relic. So if you had one that let's go ahead and take a look at your collection here. So if you wanted to put in something for Blessed, you could, but don't put in a 5-star one. So you have just 2. So I guess that you don't have another choice. But in this case, I almost feel like you're not really doing Gemfall. You're not really doing a Gem Destroy, so you wouldn't really need it. And so I would put in your 3rd Light Slayer relic instead. And if you're asking about whether or not to do ultimate, I don't know. I know that there's a really interesting deal right now where you can get guaranteed relics on tiers 4, 5, and 6. So if any of you have gotten that, might be a good chance to consider getting the ultimate form. So taking a look at the ultimate form here, what it does is it will actually, what does it do? So this one will create will give you 50 Light Slayer points as long as the Chaotic Killer is active. And what this one does is it'll create a Power Gem 3 and upgrades to the... Oh, so this one actually doesn't have any special things like it did before, where it was either, give you additional damage boost or give you additional reduction of damage. I don't see that this time. And so I guess, ultimate relic, it's up to you if you have more. Again, it's always a case of if you have more than 4 or 5, then you can consider getting that, or otherwise I usually would consider just not doing that at all. All right, so let's see. Don Lawrence, you need help? Sure thing. So Huntress, Elisa, Minra. That is your in-game name. Thank you. Huntress, Elisa, Minra. Oops. Let's take a look. Change that letter. All right, so let's take a look here. And so what I want, sure, is that the first place? I would assume so based on what I'm seeing here. So yeah, so we'll go back to that first team that you showed. And let's take a look to see what you've got going on. And so you got Maya and Diosa, which is good. And you also got Made a Pitiless, or Pitless, and Summoner Alice. So Summoner Alice the mechanic of her makes it really slow, but at the same time, you'll be able to fill up the board with regular gems, which is nice. But if you have other cards here, that's what I want to make sure. So let's take a look to see if we have some other options for you. And let's see, Alice Monaghan, I think, can just create gems, right? So Alice Monaghan is actually a better choice than, I think, regular Alice in this case, if you want it to be a little faster. So Summoner Alice will apply her skill to multiple Light Slayers, and you can create, but it's a Gem 3 mechanic, 3-turn mechanic. And you've also got Assault Unit Yuju, which also creates gems. And so if you want it to be a little faster and you're already putting in multiple support cards, I would consider maybe swapping it out just to see if it makes a difference there. You've got Dina, and you've also got Astral Judicator. So Astral Judicator, I think, what does it do again? It will destroy gem and spawn power gem for giant intensity, right? So this is one of those decks too where if you're not going for speed, if you're going for more damage, then I would, obviously consider putting in Dina or Astral Judicator as a way to get a lot more power gems so that you can power up your Maya. So those are good cards to have in there. But I think for what you're using, what I would say the best option for you would probably be to simply go with Maya Dilsa, Owen and Drago, made it pitless. Consider trying out Alice and Hellboy or Alice and Assault Unit Yoju. It's kind of nice if you put in Assault Unit Yoju, because then you get the Power Gem 3 from the Relic, right? So the more you can mix up the different Light Slayer events, then you can actually get their Power Gems from them, and so that would be good. And I also want to take a look at your relics here. So you have all of these. So Maya is ancient. It's not ancient. Maya is mystic. May is technological, and Summoner is, I think, is honored. So I guess that's okay. So that's what I would recommend, is putting in the relics for all 3 Light Slayers. You're at least going to get a little bit more damage just because you have better power gem creation from there. Okay, so give that a try and let me know what you think. So let's see. Someone else here. So DarkArkaneX, listed under Spire. Okay, a critique on the event deck. Sure, we can take a look at that. So DarkArkaneX. So you've got the Master Collection card from the Hellboy event, and you also have Owen Drago plus Summoner Alice and Lily and Leon. And so this makes it a 3-turn deck because you have to activate Summoner Alice first, and then so this card, Anang Unrama, would actually, you'll probably notice that it will deal a nuke damage, and then your turn ends, and then somebody else will come in and actually attack. So that's something that you might have noticed. But I think that, activation order is going to be very important. So you're going to want to activate Summoner Alice first. Then you activate Lily and Leon and Anung, and then finally activate Owen and Drago. So what you want to do is you want to activate your power gem spawners first, so that you can, well, I guess in this case, because you're activating Summoner Alice, probably wouldn't matter. But if you don't have a lot of light gems on the board, you always want to go with power gem spawners first. And I do see Shalian in the chat, so hello there. And Zayana, just saw your message there. Welcome here. All right, so taking a look at the rest of your cards here, I think that similar thing. I think, Summoner Alice, if you already have 2 copies of Leon, you might actually be able to get away with using Assault Unit Yoju instead, just so that you can change it up a little bit and you can utilize your 3rd relic. So you've already got Anung, and you've got 2 copies of Owen and Drago, that not Leon. Owen and Drago, I think you should do Assault Unit Yoju, So then you can actually take advantage of third relic, and then that way what you can do is you can activate Lily and Unknown first, then the 3 support cards. That's gonna convert that into a 2-turn deck rather than a 3-turn deck. So consider that and give it a try, and let me know what you think. Alrighty. Okay, so Victor, let's take a look at your cards. So it is Vogawa. You wonder if chasing after the UR ultra rare was worth it for you. So let's take a look. So if you are, I guess it depends on where you're at, right? So I actually got the ultra rare first, and I just wanted to go on record and thank my guildmate Queen Seaton. I wanted to give her a special shout out because she was super generous and helped me. I was short 100 dust if I were to get all of the collection, and she actually really helped me out and helped me get a ultra rare. And because of that, I decided to invest and go for the Master Collection card. So I was able to get the full team there. I just wanted to say, like the generosity and also sort of the helpfulness of my guildmates has been incredible, and I feel really just really amazed to be in this guild and really honored to be playing with them. So I just wanted to say thanks here. So anyways, back to the deck here. So if you are asking whether or not you should chase, I guess the question is, what tier are you at right now? If you've already gone, a couple of tiers, like up to tier 3 or 4 even, then it does get to the point where it becomes a little bit more expensive. If you get the ultimate form, it is going to be a deck that I think will be good. So I will be showcasing the full deck just so you guys can see as well. But if you're using Maya, and I see you have the Furthering Force, so you're going to basically wait until the Furthering Force activates. Then you have these look good, and you have also, but I see that you have a Mystic Relic in here. So I think I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to increase the damage, but this is at level 1. So the first thing I also want to recommend everybody is you need to start thinking about leveling up your relics. You're going to see a big difference in your damage output, especially your generation 3 relics. And so I see I see you have the Grief there for the Furthering Force, and if the goal is to make it so that you can have more gems on turn 1, that's okay, but consider that you're actually not benefiting your team by using a non-Light Slayer relic. So you have 2 here, so that I guess then you should consider getting this one, right? So but I'm assuming that this is probably where the gem sort of spend is where you're trying to decide whether to go after another tier or to go with relics. So that I leave that to you. So I see you have 2 Light Slayer relics and you're already using that, which is good. And instead of using the Mystic Relic, I wonder if there's a better option for you, right? And so let's take a look here. So instead of Mystic, there is also, what do you have there? You have also Technological, or I guess that probably will make most sense. Then I think the only thing I would recommend is actually leveling up these relics using the experience orbs if you can, because you will see at least some increase in your damage output there. And so you have Lily and Leon. I think I saw that already. And Furthering Force, which is a good option. So, and then you also have the Legacy Plague Seraph. So where would that? I feel like you could play around a little bit and consider trying and seeing if putting the 6-star Seraph is going to help once you get the materials to actually evolve it. I feel like it's going to help. I feel like, especially if you can get a lot of gems on the board, additional power gem 2s on the board, I feel like it's just going to help there. So let me know what how it works out there. Okay, so let's see. The next person is Sandra. So let's take a look at Sandruixy. And my chat window just refreshed. It didn't look like there's any new chat for a while, and I see that there's a lot more. So if I didn't see your messages and respond in time, I apologize. I'll take a look and respond as soon as I can. All right, so we've got the Apocalypse Hellboy and Unknown here with Maya and Diosa, Lillian, Leon, and Owen and Drago. So it looks like a really good team right there. And you don't actually need the scepter here for the heal, because Owen and Drago heals for such a good amount. It'll actually basically fully heal your team, so you don't actually need that in this case. And you have two of these relics there, so let's take a look to see if your relics wise, would it be better to put in a third your fourth Light Slayer. So I see there's 4. I think you're going to be better off putting in your lunar launcher in there. So you put in a lunar launcher in place of your light scepter, and you have the alien spear at 5 stars, so that's going to help. I think that's the only suggestion I would have. I think, but let me just double check, because I think you've already put your best cards in there, and that definitely is the case. And I don't think the Furthering Force is going to be any better, except the thing here is the fact that you have Apocalyptic Hellboy in there means that it's going to be a 3-turn deck as well. And so the way this will work is you'll activate Apocalyptic Hellboy, do a match, and then you'll activate Unknown and then Lily and Maya before you finally activate Owen. I think that's okay. It's just that Unknown is a nuke damage dealer, so you just gotta pay attention when you're in a Slayer fight. Somebody may come in and take out the boss for you. But I think your team works really well. I like this setup. I would just take out the scepter because you don't actually need it. All right. So Mount Failmore, let's take a look and see if you should replace the 2 Gemfall Mage cards with something else. Sure, let's take a look. So Darksummoner. And what I'm going to do this time, guys, too, after the video comes out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to update the description so that I will have, your names in the timestamp, so that if you come back, if you wanted to take a look at, what I said, you could, find it easier, so you don't have to scroll through and find it. So I'm going to try to be better about updating the description, and let me know if that helps. Okay. And so this is under the Don't PGS Me deck. Okay. This one. So you got Astral Judicator and Canis. So that right there is going to be really good. Now, the only thing I think is that Astral Judicator will create based on Giant Intensity. So you're probably creating, I guess 2, because really you're just doing maybe 2 or 3 turns. So you're probably going to be creating at most 2 Power Gem 3s there, and then you're using Canis, so you're filling out the board. You got Owen and Drago, you got May, which is good, and then you got Summoner Alice. Okay, so let's take a look here, because I feel like I really don't want to diss Summoner Alice, but I just think that because you're already using a Gemfall deck, you might actually not need to use Summoner Alice, and instead you should consider putting in another card that could be of use there. So you don't want it to be a 3-turn card, is really what it comes down to. And so is it better to then put in a different card? Let's see. So you got Dina and Ilona. So Rainbow Overdrive, I don't think. Oh, so you got Legacy Plague Seraph. Yeah, so do that. I would use that. So let's see. You've got quite a few really good cards in here as well. They're not quite leveled up, but I would say definitely use your 6-star Plague Seraph. And honestly, if you're using Astral Judicator plus Canis, then I would say just go ahead and take out Summoner Alice and try putting this Seraph in there. And I say this because you might the damage increase for Owen and May might actually overcome the overall damage that you see from from this team here. It might be similar, it might be the same, but at the very minimum, this can be a 2-turn deck, and it wouldn't be a 3-turn deck there. So you probably notice a pattern. Like, this is the reason why I've been chasing after this Plague Seraph for a very, very long time, because I believe that it is going to be a very helpful card for situations like this where you need a deck that can create power gems, but you only really have cards that give you regular gems. So this is where it comes in handy. So Mount Fillmore, give it a try. Just test it out on the boss and see if that helps. See if that works. Sandra, which one is for the ultimate T-Bone? I think what I was referring to is your 2 copies of Erudite Gauntlet. You can actually form that into an ultimate relic, but I feel like having it separate is probably going to be better for you. And Nathan Vogel, so you just started watching about a week ago. Thank you very much. Welcome, and thanks for your support here. So let's see, Maverick Raider. So yeah, so basically what I do is every Tuesday, I've started doing this thing regularly now. Tuesdays we do, event previews, and then on Thursdays I generally do a sort of a deck building type exercise with folks. And usually these are people that have been supporting me for a while. We've been doing this for a number of months now, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been very enjoyable. So I've been lucky to be able to work with everybody here, and glad I can be of help and help everybody be a little bit better here. All right, so we've got Maya and Diosa, Lillian Leon, and Owen Drago, and then Transform Daimyo plus Plague Seraph. So let's see. So Transform Daimyo, I think, creates 3 Power Gem 1s, which is okay. But I feel like you might end up being in a situation where you probably won't have enough gems. So in this particular case, so let's take a look. I just want to make sure. Ben Daimyo creates Power Gems, right? 3 Power Gems. And I think Transform Daimyo creates the same thing. Yeah, so it creates 4. And it also is a nuke. So that's something to think about. Alice Monaghan. So Alice Monaghan will actually create 8 light gems. So this is where I'm thinking. Or you can go with Assault Unit Yoji, which creates 6. So it's between 8 or 6. So you're using. So you have 2 copies of Owen Drago though. So let me see. Am I missing something? I think you should replace the Transform Daimyo with a copy of with another copy of Owen. So what's happening here is you will get 1 additional Power Gem 3, but I think in the grand scheme of things, having 2 copies of Owen, you're getting the 10 times damage bonus, and keep in mind that this has a 6% damage boost compared to the other decks. I think having 2 copies of Owen, Lillian, Leon, Maya, you know what? I'm going to show you how this works. So, and then with the Plague Seraph, I think you'll do pretty good damage. I can actually duplicate this deck, so I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. And before I do that, let me just double check and see who else is asking for help here. So let's see, we got Tamara, and we can also take a look here. So it's Baroness, Ismitta, Drift. I will do this as soon as I try this deck that I was talking about. So let's go ahead and make a change here. So I'm going to do this. So I think the cards that we were talking about, and keep in mind, mine is not going to be as good because I don't have Plague Seraph. So we've got Owen and Drago, and I think we want to do 2 copies of Owen Drago. We got Lillian Leon, and then we've got 1 copy of Maya and Diosa. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep a Golden Warrior in here. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have my 3 Light Slayer relics, and that's all I'm gonna do. Okay, so let's see how much this can do, and then you can sort of see how much more it will be able to do with a copy of Plague Seraph instead. So we're gonna take that deck and we're gonna go up against a boss right now, assuming that it's not going to get taken out. So this is going to be the deck that I was just talking about. And I kind of wanted to sort of test this out at the same time, just to sort of see, am I actually on the right track? Is my suggestion actually okay? So let's make sure that we actually, match enough gems first, so we can make this a 2-turn deck. And now what we want to do is we want to activate our Power Gem spawners. First, I'm going to go ahead and activate this, followed by that, and then 2 copies of Owen and Drago. So we're not quite there, but then we will create about 5. So we create 5 power gems there. So right there by itself, that already is, I think, a bonus compared to Daimyo. And so with this particular setup, that's about over 100 billion in damage right there. And this can, so the only thing is Owen and Drago is slow. So Owen Drago actually requires 6 turns before you can actually go off a cooldown. So that's the only sort of negative to this particular deck. But I think that, for a quick 2-turn damage output, I think that's not a bad choice. So give it a try. And so let's see. Oh yeah, sorry Shaolin with your migraine. Sorry about that. And so that's my recommendation. Give it a try and see what you think. I don't have a Daimyo, so I couldn't really try it, but I think that you're going to get better damage output simply because you're going to have more gems on the board there. And so let's see. Baroness, Ismitta, Drift. Let's take a look at your cards. Baroness, Ismitta, Drift. And I guess I kind of wanted to show you guys how, having 2 ultimate... This is the first time I actually have 2 ultimate forms that I can go up against the ultimate boss. This is where both of them actually activate. It's actually really, really interesting. I've never had that before. So I'll be focusing some time. Let me know if you'll be interested in watching me sort of, do a stream on just taking down ultimate bosses, kind of like what I did, except I did on the last event. Let me know if you would like to see that sometime in the middle of the week or something. So we can definitely make that happen as well. So we've got Shinies. That looks like that might be the deck that you're using. So we can take a look here. And Nathan, you think your deck is good, but a quick look will be awesome. Sure, I'll take a look at your deck right after this. And so let's take a look at your Shinies deck. And so same as me, you've also used 3 Slayer relics here, and I feel like you don't have the current event relic though. Am I missing something? So let's take a look. Yeah, so I think you're just missing the gauntlet. So make sure you don't forget to put the gauntlet in there. If that is the team that you're using, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Maybe it's Alpha that you're using. I would assume this is the one. Okay, so you got Owen Drago, Assault Unit Yoju, Hellboy, and Anurama Summoner Alice. So that would be okay. Let's see if there's anything we can do, if it's even possible to improve on what you've done there. I think that yeah, okay. So based on what I'm seeing here with the cards that you have, I think that is a good setup. I like that you put in Assault Unit Yoju there because it does give you the ability to create gems and also take advantage of your relic. And so you should understand already by this point how you would activate the card. So you'd be Summoner Alice, Hellboy, then do a match, and then go ahead and activate everything else. I think at that point you will already have light gems on the board, so the order of activation wouldn't matter. But I would imagine that you should be able to deal some good damage, especially Owen and Drago, because it's 10 times bonus, and so that would be pretty good. The only thing I'm thinking about is I'm looking at your 5-star spear, and let's take a look. I guess that would probably be okay because the 5-star spear is still going to be better than your other Light Claymore, I think. So the Light Claymore 2014 and 5-star spear at level 14 will do 536 attack plus a bit of percentage. This is where I would say try putting in the saber and see if that increases your damage output by a little bit. You lose a little bit of health, but I think you might want to see if the damage output is going to be changed. That's the only recommendation I would have there. And so let's take a look. So guard Percy Moon. So let's take a look here. And yes, Queen Femme Fatale, your deck is going to be next. So we'll be taking a look at that as well. So you got the first team, and you've also got a new team and sort of experimenting with different cards, which is really good. I like to see that. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at your Light Slayer cards here to start. And so we've got Maya and Diosa, so obviously you want to put that in there. And Anu Rama basically gives you a 3 power gem force. Right, creates 3 power gem force, and then it will nuke as well if you have power gems already. So what I would do, I think in this case, is it will only nuke if you have 4 or more. And so if there is no power gem 4 on the board when you activate, I would activate Anung first before you activate Maya. That's the recommendation. And I noticed that you have an awakened card, Owen and Drago. Typically, my recommendation is always to never upgrade your never awaken support cards. There is no reason to awaken. The reason I say that is because every time you awaken a card, you're gaining 20% damage output. But the 20% that you gain is actually going to be less compared to having 2 of the same cards. So 2 copies of Owen Drago is actually going to out damage a one-time awakened Owen. Okay, and so unless you're really running short on the space, like you have all these other cards that can deal a lot of damage, typically you want to keep them separate because you want the option of running multiple, and also because this card is a really good gem spawner, and so you don't actually want to use up that ability to spawn gems to awaken it. So this way you can save your mana, and also you can have additional cards that you can use to fill out the board with those gems. So that is typically what I see that I want to make sure that I call out. So for your future reference, don't awaken support cards. Only use wisps. And you only want to awaken either the ultimate form cards, or if you don't have them, maybe the Master Collection card, but nothing else. You should never use your mana on support cards because there are other uses there. And so let's take a look here. So you do have a second copy of Owen. So that's good there. I didn't see that, but let's see. So I would actually want to make sure you use those 2 copies, those 2 cards in there, because you have they have 10 times bonus there. Maya, Anu, Owen plus Owen, and then the final card here. Let's see. So you got Golden Guardian. That's one that you can use as well. I think you'll probably get enough gems from those 2. Or let's take a look and see your commander cards. See if there's anything in here. So you got Curators of Pain, which will create but this actually requires you to have this requires you to have commander intensity, so commander skill points, so that's not going to help here. So I think that you actually will probably be better off with the Maya Diosa, 2 copies of Owen and Drago, and then now the last thing is I would just say Power Gen spawn, in which case Transform Daimyo will be a better option for you. Or you can try Golden Guardian. So you can sort of switch between the 2. Those would be the cards I would try out, and let's see if that's the team that you've already built out as well. So yeah, so you got 2 copies of Owen, Maya Diosa, and I think you want to put in I didn't say Summoner Alice, right? What was the final card? Just want to make sure that I don't forget here. Yeah, you want to put an Unrama in there instead. I think you're going to get better damage output overall with this. Okay, so give it a try, and hopefully that helps. I hope that works out for you. And let's see, Queen Fatale, you definitely were next. So let's take a look. And hopefully you are still awake. Okay, so let's take a look here and see what you've got going on. And so we've got 2 copies of Maya. Ooh, 2 Master Collection cards. That's good. Owen and Drago, and then finally a 5-star Lily and Leon. And is there another option here? So I think you probably should just put in May and replace Lily. So Lily is at 5-star isn't going to be all that great. I think that based on what you're putting in there, I would simply just put in May in there and take out the 5-star card. You might as well put in all of your 6-star cards in this particular case, because you're going to get better damage output there. You got 3 copies of Maya. So go with Maya, May, and then Owen Drago, or even, I mean, May requires she'll create 4 power gen 4s, right? That's and it requires 25 skill points. So Maya, that's basically 3, 6, 9, and then plus May, that's going to be 4, so that's 13. And then if you put in Owen and Drago, that's 8. So 3, 4, 3, 6, 9, 13, 21. 21 gems. It's not going to be a huge deal, but I mean, you have 3 nuke cards there, and they're all times 13. I feel like you should just put them in there. So I guess then the other question is, would it be better for you to put in 2 copies of Owen and Drago versus 1? I would play around with this queen. I think you actually have some choices, but in any of those situations, I would say take away Lily and Leon. I would rather see you putting in a 3rd copy of Maya in there, because I think it's going to be much better for you by far. Okay. And so, are you going up to level 6 on ultimate? So I was able to get to about level 12 or so, I think. But it's because I actually have the Hellboy ultimate form. I think that helped. And also because I don't have the Abarca equivalent, I couldn't do damage quite as fast. I'm going to try and figure it out, so we'll definitely do something. So Spidey Jack, so your video is very helpful to me, at least as a new and free-to-play player. Thank you very much. Just a request if I can make videos for players who don't have event decks or high-end cards and the best combo they can use. So this is the reason why I do this stream now. I used to make videos. I used to do just videos without actually talking to anybody, and I use my cards. And I generally don't spend. So you see that I am currently VIP, but I have been a free-to-play player for a very long time. And so what I've always done is I've always, talked about using cards that aren't always event cards. I've made a lot of videos that use nothing but support cards from the particular event. And so what I would recommend here is, cards that you can get from Dust Store, if you have some Dust, is going to be very helpful. And also, you need to sort of build up your collection. If you're new, you do need to, go after support cards. I think getting support cards, and if you're lucky, getting the event card from the collections, those are ways that you build up the deck. And so let me know if there's anything I can do to help you as well. But yes, I definitely always try to find ways to do damage without the full deck, and that's why you will see. That's why you see a lot of the deck ideas that I put out there. I generally don't make a deck that is the full deck. I generally try to make something that is comprised of support cards and sometimes main cards here. And all of these other cards I show, these are cards that are possible for you to obtain in the game as well. So hopefully that helps. And so you enjoyed the last event, Water Slayer, where I helped us to use the third card in Dragon. Yeah, so that is exactly why that is exactly what I enjoyed doing. So thank you very much. And let's see. So Yusuf, what was the comment I said previously about Archangel Uriel? So not Uriel, Archangel Mithril. Archangel Mithril is a card that actually will increase the drop rate, but it's a Generation 1 style gem fall. So there is no number associated with how many gems will fall compared to a card like Orion or Canis. And yeah, so Gris, not sure the cards. So I think, if you're stuck on ultimates, I think the question is whether or not it is health or if it is timing, right? So I think for me, it was more on health. So that's why I put in Aladdin there. So let's see. A lot more chat in here. Okay. And I think Gar Percy Moves already took a last. So Sony Muliari, nice to see you. And Beli Di Bios, thank you for joining us here. So Bolo Yeung E Slayer. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see. Is Slayer the actual part of the name there? So let's take a look. Bolo Yeung E Slayer. Is that right? Or is it just Bolo Yeung? I'm gonna name Bolo Yeung Y Slayer, but that doesn't look right. So is this it? Okay, so Bolo Yeung. And you would like to take a look at the Slayer deck, so we can do that. And is the name of the deck Slayer? Okay, why Slayer? There you go. First time on stream. Hey, welcome. So let's see. So you got Maya, Diosa, you got Dina as well. So Dina is one of those cards where you need a lot more intensity in order to make her useful. Otherwise, you're going to be just creating a single light power gem because you have, no, I guess probably two because you do have one one grief. So the thing about these type of Halloween type cards is you need either relics or other cards. So you have two. I see you have two Dren or Highborn relics there. So that means every turn that passes, you're going to be able to create a power gem 2. And so if you make this a 4 or 5 turn deck, then it is going to be useful because you're going to have at least 4 or 5 Power Gem 2s in addition to Maya, May, and then you can then use Owen. And of course, as time goes on, you're going to be able to deal a lot more damage with this. So I think there is probably, I would consider this a more longer term deck. And then there might be another card that you can put in instead of Dina. Just want to take a look and see if there's another option there. Just sort of in the meantime. And so you got May, Maya, and I think it was 2 copies of Owen. And so I feel like you might actually get better output with simply putting in a Golden Guardian if you wanted to be quick, because what you're going to get is a Power Gem 4 right off the bat compared to a couple of Power Gem 2s. And so that might be something that you can play around a little bit. It's just that Golden Guardian is unfortunately, too slow. It does require 100 God intensity in order for you to actually generate more than one Power Gem 4. So I kind of don't like using that generally in that situation. Another option you do have is you do have Oglyph. I think I actually prefer Oglyph, or actually have Gadget. I prefer Gadget in this case. So if you're going to be using Dina, try putting in Gadget instead. So that will be very similar to the deck I showed. If you use Gadget first and then the rest of the cards, you might actually get some pretty good output because Gadget will actually create up to 7 Power Gem 3s for you. So that's going to be multiple 7 Power Gem 3s plus Maya plus May, and then you fill the board with Owen. I think you're going to improve your damage a lot faster with that particular setup. So that would be the recommendation I would have. And this way then you can take out the Griefs and your other relics there. And generally, like, I try not to put too many relics that power a Generation 2 card, because then you're missing out on the relics that you can use for your Slayer. And I guess having one Light Slayer relic here, and that's why you're putting in the 2 light. And that's okay, but I guess if you have Technological, that would be better, because then you can power up this card as well. So take a look to see if you have other. I would rather seeing relics that power up the Generation 3 cards, just because they would do a little bit better. Okay, and so Reaper MX, how are you doing? Good. And Judge of All, you've got enough gems to go after another relic or try for another UR. I guess the question is, if you're going to go for another ultra rare, do you already have another Master Collection card? And I think that if you don't have another Master Collection card, I would rather just go after another relic. You're probably going to get a better output. The ultra rare card to me isn't the greatest. And so having multiple copies really is only good if you can get a second copy of a Master Collection card to get your maybe a 2-star ultimate form. So that would be my recommendation. Okay. And so I'm about half an hour behind chats. I'm really sorry, guys. So I see chats from Saburon, and I did not get the Seraph, unfortunately. And yeah, so I've opened at least 4,000 or 5,000 cards so far, and I haven't got get anything. I pulled tons of Infernal Squall. I've got basically every ultra rare I could, except for Seraph. So yeah. And since you're the first time in chat here, I do want to make sure that I get to you as well. So that's Beli Di Bios. So let's take a look at your in-game name. Turtle. Wait. Let's see. Beli Di Bios. Did I already take a look at your deck? I think no, I didn't. You're gonna have to tell me, is this name basically the same as your in-game name? Okay. And the deck that you were asking about is the Turtle Clan. Yeah, so let's see. Maya deck. All right. Well, let's take a look because I don't see the deck name here, but I'm just gonna take a look at your Light Slayer cards. And after this, right after this deck, it's 9:30 right now. I'm gonna take a look at the rest of the chat and just kind of see what else I've missed, and maybe we can have some discussions there, just so that we could make sure that we cover what I need to cover. Oh, I see. So it's Roy G who's asking for the Turtle Clan. Okay. And so let's take a look here. My deck. So you got, let's see. So you got Anon, Persona of Power. So that's the ultra rare card. Made the Pitiless. So these are the 3 cards you definitely want to put in there. And Lillian Leon. So that's basically the 4 cards I would recommend. And then the final card would obviously then be Owen and Drago. And so I would say that yeah, I would say you probably want to put those 5 cards in there to start. It really is sort of the most powerful sort of combination. The only thing is, lack of gems is generally an issue, so sometimes you might need to forego a particular card just to put in a second gem spawner. And so I want to make sure you have 2 copies of Owen Drago. You do have 2 copies. So I think you should keep your Persona Power because it has a killer bonus. May the Pitiless actually works better than Anun Unrama in this particular case. And so I would say, this is what I would say. I would go with Persona Power, May the Pitiless, Lillian Leon, and 2 copies of support card just because it's going to be much faster than putting in, not much faster. No, you know what? I take it back. Let's do Anung Unrama, Persona Power, May the Pitiless, and then 2 copies of Owen and Drago. I think that's going to be the best power output team for you. And so I would take out Transform Daimyo and I would put in your ultra rare card and then take out Lily and Leon, put in another Owen and Drago. That's what I would do. Okay. And Roy G, aren't you? Let's see, Roy G. Well, you're gonna have to give me your in-game name, but if you're the same Roy that I'm thinking about, I can also help you afterwards, in case I don't get to everybody. Let's see, Mount Fenmore, the light gem destroy cards don't seem to generate as much gem flow as your green and red ones. Yeah, so the light one does not, because it actually has much lower gem fall count. It was actually by design. Johnny Tables, welcome to the stream. Thanks to see you here. And so optimal activation order would be your gem rain card. In this case, if you have Orion, take Orion, and then your gem destroy, and then the rest of your power gem spawners. Okay. All right. So Yusef, yes, the ultra rare cards that is up to the Thoth card is absolutely available in the dust shop. I will show you once again. I will show you guys what I was able to pull from the dust shop actually. So I got myself Holy Wing, Ethereal Drake, Overloaded Balava, Golden Guardian, and I also got rid of a bunch. Actually, I had to clear them all out, but I did get a bunch. I also got a couple of copies of Golden Warrior, and I also got Bedeviled Vena, Sentry Storm. All of these cards are available. The only one I couldn't get was Plague Seraph. So that's the only thing. All right, and so let's see, Quimfit. No, I didn't pass you, Quim. I actually took a look at your deck. So I'm gonna remember. I will put all of the decks that I've actually gone through in the description. So just a reminder, I will give timestamps to all the decks I went through today, so that when you come back later on, it will also be available, so you can check it out a little faster. Or a little easier. So we are at 9:34. I'm probably going to end it for tonight. I just wanted to say thanks again for everybody for joining me, coming out and showing the support here. And you know, as always, if I didn't get a chance to take a look at your deck today, definitely hit me up on the network app and let me know, and you can ask questions there. I will try to help you afterwards as well. Okay, and Queen Femme Fatale, if you have questions on relics, you can also reach out to me afterwards. I think I mentioned it to you, but in case you missed it, let me know, and I will follow with you afterwards. And so let's see, we've got questions on 3,500 dust away from Ultra. Really want the ultimate card. Yeah, so this, like I was saying from the you know, when I actually did the preview, I think that it is a deck that's worth using. I'm gonna go ahead and show what I'm using for the deck, just so you have an idea as well. So let's see. And Bruno, thanks for the subscription. And so let's see. I actually don't have one that I let's go ahead and build something. I have one for ultra rare kill. I think this is the one. So this is the deck that I use. So let's go ahead and give this a try here. So let's see. Do we have a? We don't have one. We don't have a really big boss to go after, but I can kind of just show you, because I'm afraid if I'm gonna do a three keys, everything is just gonna die. So let's take a look to see if like a challenge boss or something like that. But I think that it is, you know, I don't normally say, hey, I recommend you spending money, but I think that if you have been sort of on the fence and you are feeling like something that you're willing to go after, I don't think you're going to get buyer's remorse. So that's what I would say. So that one's nearly dead. Is there... When I really want like a bigger boss, I don't see it, which is unfortunate. All of the this is probably gonna die. Let's just go one key. I mean, this is gonna be dead with one key because it has the killer bonus. But this is the so in this particular scenario, right? This is actually I'm not using the right deck here. Sorry guys. I wanted to use this one. So I think this is a deck that actually does have a lot of viability, and in any sort of future Slayer decks, light decks that actually have better power gem output, or you know, gem fall, or you know, anything that they add to it. Honestly, throw this card in there, and you're going to get really good. You're gonna get really good return on the investment for that. Yeah, so I can't even one key this to really show what it's capable of doing. But I will probably do a stream and on the ultimate bosses, so we can do a chat there. Okay, and Bruno Nascimento, and so it is your first time. And like, yeah, unfortunately, I did already say I was going to end this. So I don't want to, you know, it would be unfair to everyone else. But what I would like for you to do, Bruno, is can you send me a message on, or let me know your in-game name, and I can reach out to you, and we can talk about your cards here. So I appreciate you coming to the stream, and thanks for the subscription here. Let me know your in-game name, and I'm going to look at your deck right afterwards, and then we can chat after as well. So if you wouldn't mind, just let me know your in-game name again before you go, and then I will I'll reach out. Okay, so make sure you put it in there. And again, thanks a lot for everybody. Thanks everybody for coming out. I am going to put a timestamp in this description, and if there's any other questions you have, let me know. Put it in the comments below, and we can definitely you know, try to get more people to answer that, or I can you know, take a look at the questions and try to answer as much as I could. All right, and so I just want to take a look in the chat to make sure. Okay, so I will take a look up Rira after the stream, and then, you know, take a little bit of a break, and I'll message you afterwards. Okay, and my Twitter. So the Twitter information is right here. You can see on the screen. So Tebow Nation _201. So that is my Twitter. I try to check it, and I try to send some updates there. If you guys wanted to check it out, that'd be great. Okay, so that's all for tonight. Thank you very much, everybody, for the stream. I hope you have a great event, and as always, thanks for the support, and I will see you in either the next stream over the weekend potentially, or on Tuesday when we do the event preview once again. All right, so that is all for today. Thank you very much. Take care, and I'll see you next time.